fellow Sebastopolian, and it has a story that reminded me of Jim Long's, where he just kind of saw a need and was moved to do something about it, and now that's kind of part of what our club does for the community. John, in his case, had been seeing news about the refugees, the Syrian refugees, and refugees from other places streaming into Europe and coming to Greece. And so he put himself together and went to Greece. And he's here to share his experience of what it's like working with other volunteers who just kind of assembled there. I mean, it wasn't a grand plan where you sign up and it's all organized. He improvised when he got there. So please welcome John.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, John.
I'm very happy to be here. My biggest challenge this morning is condensing an hour and a half presentation into 20 minutes and 25 minutes. So I'm going to speak very quickly, just highlight some of the major impressions and experiences that I had. My story today is a story of three journeys. First is an inner spiritual journey that I went through that led me to take the step of going to Greece to work with refugees. The second journey is the journey of the Syrians and others from the Middle East as they made their way to Europe. And then the third journey is my journey to Greece to work with the refugees. And all three journeys are intertwined and interrelated, as you will see by the end of the presentation. So, just a quick word about the inner journey. I had gone through some difficult challenges during my life in the last year, and through that process, I discovered mindfulness meditation and metta meditation, yoga, and some inner work. And as a result of that, experienced this kind of awakening of the heart. And that happened right around the time last fall when all the over 1 million refugees were heading over to Europe. And something opened up in my heart in terms of compassion for what these refugees were going through. And I just felt like I had to go to Greece. And as Michael said, I had no plan, no agenda, no organization. I just showed up there and started working. The second journey is the journey actually of the refugees, and I just wanted to take a couple of minutes just to show you what this map of Europe you're all familiar with. Here's Syria here. Here's Syria, Iraq, Iran, Afghanistan over here. And Turkey and Greece, and the Balkan states, countries, and then Europe. And these are the primary routes that were taken by the refugees. The most widely used route was this Eastern Mediterranean route from Turkey into Greece and up through the Balkan countries into Western Europe. When the borders closed here in Greece, now most of the refugees are going on this route through North Africa. You've probably been reading and hearing about the thousands who have died trying to make this crossing over to Italy. The other one is not as widely used. On the day that I left on March 14th, the day after my 68th birthday, we were driving to the airport. We stopped at Whole Foods in Petaluma to get a sandwich and bottle of iced tea. And I have the cap here. I opened the cap, and there's some writing in the inside of it. And I said to my wife, I wonder if there's a message in here for me as I'm leaving for the airport. And this is what the message said. The world is moved along not only by the mighty shoves of its heroes, but also by the aggregate of the tiny pushes of each honest worker. This is Helen Keller. I mean, what are the odds of getting that kind of a message? Just as I'm leaving to join thousands of volunteers from around the world. I mean, there must be millions of these bottle caps floating around the United States, and I got that one message as I was leaving for the airport. I ended up on the island of Lesbos, and that was the island where over 1 million refugees came from Turkey across to Lesbos. And it's a 5-mile strait between Turkey and the island of Lesbos. And I stood on the island of Lesbos and I could see Turkey just right across the water. But that's where over 1,000 refugees died. And you heard about it and you read about it, boats capsizing and so on. And it was the most frightening part of the journey, I think, for most refugees. Because when they got on those little rafts or the boats, they didn't know if they're going to live or die. They didn't know if they're going to make it across that 5-mile strait. And it was, everyone I talked to who made that journey said it was the most frightening thing to walk onto that boat, not knowing if they're going to make it. So when I got to the island of Lesbos, I was there for a few days. The borders had closed, and the number of refugees had dwindled. So I went to the northern border of Greece to a camp called Idomeni. It wasn't a formal official camp, it was just a camp that started up because the borders had closed right at the border between Greece and Macedonia. And these are just some pictures of what it looked like at that camp in Idomeni. There are about 12,000 people there who were stuck, and that's probably Macedonia right on the other side here. We're stuck at the border. And if you can imagine, you've probably seen homeless encampments along the Russian River or under freeways and so on. Multiply that by 10, 12,000 people. And that's what it was like at Idomeni. And as I have a whole story to tell about this, but I really don't have the time right now of this boy carrying logs to build fires at his tent. He was struggling with his logs, and I helped carry them for about 500 yards. But anyway, I walked around with tears in my eyes as I just saw this mass of humanity living in these conditions. To say, how did these people end up here? And what did they do to deserve this kind of fate of leaving a war-torn country and then ending up in this kind of a no man's land in limbo of being stuck? So the second day that I was at Idomeni, again, I didn't know what I was going to do when I got there. I saw, at the hotel where a lot of the volunteers gathered, I saw these volunteers chopping vegetables. So I went up there and said, "Can I help you?" And they said, "Sure, come on." And so I ended up for about 2 weeks, every morning for about 4 hours, just chopping vegetables. And this group was called Hot Food Idomeni. And what they did was they made a hot meal for the refugees every day. We served about 4,500 hot meals every single day. 4 hours we spent chopping vegetables, chopping potato. And then this was their tent. This is their kitchen in the back of the hotel where they cook the meals. You see the pots of the vegetables that were just cut. There I am. There were about 6 of these huge pots of soup that we were cooking every day. And then they would take these, probably weighed a couple hundred pounds, and took them to the back of a truck. And we would drive to the camp, which was about a 20-minute drive, and serve these meals from the back of this truck. As soon as we got there, there'd be this huge line of people, as far back as you can see, and we would be serving non-stop for about 4 hours. If I was ladling the soup, it was like no stop at all. It just kept going on and on until we could try to serve as many as we could. And one day, it was raining, people would stand in line for over an hour just to get a little cup of soup, hard-boiled egg, and some pita bread. And we were down to the last pot, about maybe 20 servings left. And it was raining out there. People were standing in the line in the rain. And I said, I looked up to see how many more people there were. And the line was still stretched for hundreds of yards. And I knew that people who had been standing in line in the rain were not going to be eating that day. It was just really heartbreaking, very sad to be in that kind of a situation. This is what it looked like when it rained there. And it would be cold, since it's March and April, at nighttime it went down to maybe 40 degrees, windy, cold, rain. I don't know how they did it. They were stuck there for, by that time, about a month. The next day the sun came out, and I have a video clip, but I won't have time to show it, but these are kids running around and they're playing, they're marching around to music, having just a wonderful time. The children there were like children that you would see here in the United States. They were playing and running around, fighting, you know, having a great time. You can close your eyes and imagine these are kids here in the playground at Parkland School. The kids somehow, under the most extreme conditions, still find a way to play. That's not to minimize the trauma that they've gone through, but somehow kids are so resilient that they will be, under the most extreme kind of conditions, they'll still have a way to interact with each other and play and so on. These are clowns called Clowns Without Borders that perform for the refugees. And again, I don't have time right now to show you some of the things that they did with the refugees. But the refugees, you know, in spite of the situation, somehow just tried to create normal kind of conditions as much as they could. Here's a barber. Some refugees, volunteer groups had donated a sewing machine that was hooked up to a generator so that people could sew their clothes. This mother is washing her baby child in one of those plastic tubs. So a woman cooking her meal on a kind of improvised stove. These kids are washing some of the utensils in plastic containers. Woman washing her clothes. Mother feeding her boy. The ones who came to Greece and so on were smuggled. They had to pay smugglers to get to Greece, about 1,000 euros per person. So these were mostly middle class, professional. These were refugees who had some money, as opposed to the millions that were stuck in Lebanon and Jordan and Syria and Turkey and so on. These were people just like you and me. Shop owners, teachers, professionals, and so on. So one day, for about 2 weeks, I've been working, serving food, chopping vegetables, as many people as I could. But I really wasn't making some connections with the refugees themselves. And until one day I was walking by, and this man, Khalid, ran up to me and said, "Do you have a charger for my cell phone?" Cell phones are very, very important for the refugees. That's the only way they can keep in touch with each other and use the GPS and things like that. And I didn't have one that would fit his Samsung. I had an iPhone. So I said, "I'll be back tomorrow and I'll try and find you one." So I went to the store and I found it. I bought a charger for him and brought it to him the next day. And of course, he was really very, very happy. So I got to meet him and his family. And one night he invited me to his little campfire there and met some of the other fellows there. And I'm sitting, you can't really see, but I'm sitting in this black lounge chair, very comfortable chair. We had 2 of them there. I don't know how he ever got it to his little campsite. I know he didn't bring it from Syria, but I was sitting there. And 3 weeks after I got home, on Facebook, someone sent some pictures that they took of the camp. And there's the chair right there, the one that I was sitting on. That's his pet there. Anyway, I got to meet some of these fellows, and the fellow on the left had been on one of those rafts where he had never been on a boat before, but the smugglers told him, "You're going to be steering this boat in the middle of the night." And I said, "Well, how did you ever do this?" And he said, "Well, when I was in Syria, I used to play PlayStation games, and I was able to figure out, how to coordinate things." And I don't know exactly what he did, but he said that helped me in terms of figuring out how to get to Greece. This is another refugee. He was captured by ISIS. He and his twin brother and his father taken to prison. His father and his twin brother were killed in the prison while he was there. And he was tortured. He said ISIS tore his fingernails and his thumbnails off. And he showed me his hands. But anyway, he and I have been in touch since I've been back here through FaceTime, Facebook. And I've been helping him. I sent him some money, etc. He's been trying to get across the border. And somehow, about 3 weeks ago, I got a phone call. And I looked at my cell phone. It said, "Call from Netherlands." I said, "Who in the world's calling from the Netherlands?" And it was this young fellow. He had made it to the Netherlands somehow. And I still don't know how he made it across the border. The last story I'm going to tell you very, very quickly. This is Khalid's wife, the one that I bought the charger for with his child. The day before I was leaving Greece to come back to the United States, Khalid came up to me and he said he had a flat tire for a stroller, a big flat tire. And he said, "Can you help me fix this flat tire?" Also, I had bought his son some shoes, and he said they're too big to exchange them. So the last day I was there, I said, "Okay, I'm going to get this flat tire fixed," and I exchanged the shoes for him. So I went. I tried to take the tire off the stroller, but I didn't have the tools. So I said, "Okay, I'm going to come back and get some tools and try and help you out." So it's about a 25-minute drive to the camp. I went back to the town. I got an adjustable wrench and some duct tape. I went back to the camp another 25 minutes, and we couldn't fix the flat tire. Somehow he had gotten it off the stroller. And I said, "Okay, give me the tire. I'll take it back to town and see if I can get it fixed for you." Another 25 minutes back to the town. I got there about 2:15. All the stores are closed between 2 and 5 o'clock. I said, "Okay, I'm not going to wait around for 3 hours. I'm going to drive back to the camp." So another 25-minute drive back to the camp. I helped serve the meals. And then I drove back to the town. I found a bike shop. I went to the bike shop and he said, "Okay, I can fix it. Come back in 30 minutes. So in the meantime, I went to the shoe store to try and find some size 22 sandals. And the woman looked through all the boxes that she had. So I had like 100 boxes of shoes. And then next to the last box, she opens up a pair of sandals, size 22. That's the sandals right there. A little duck finger for his son. I go back to this bike shop. He's got the flat tire fixed. So I pull out my wallet. "How much do I owe you?" He said, "Nothing." He says, "I don't do this for you. I don't do this for me. I do this for goodness." In his broken English. I knew exactly what he was talking about. So I went back to the camp that night. I was just on cloud 9. This was the last day before I was going to leave. I got what I wanted to do, got that flat tire fixed. And the sandal exchanged. He was just so ecstatic and so happy, and his wife and his child were just so happy that I was able to do what I did. So the last, these are just some pictures I took people on the last day as I was leaving the camp. And again, these are people who are just like you and I, except they're the ones that were caught in the war and suffering and doing the best they could. These are some children. Of course, most of you have seen this. I learned Kurdi, the little boy who died as he was going from Turkey to Lesbos. And some of you have seen this image just recently of this boy who was discovered after a bombing in the back of an ambulance. His older brother, by the way, died in the same bombing. This is the last picture I took at Many. The sun was setting that evening. And the last thing I just want to say, or just a couple of things what I learned from my experience. And number one, as I reflected on this experience that I had, is that there's another whole world out there that we're not even really aware of. Unless you've traveled around the world and seen like extreme poverty. You know, I knew this intellectually, and I knew from watching the news and looking at the internet. But when you're there with 12,000 refugees who are just living there with whatever they carry with them, trying to make it to Europe for a better life for themselves and for their children, it's just very, very. You have this feeling of great gratitude for what we have. I mean, we are so lucky. I hope we can always be grateful for this life that we have living here in Sonoma County, when there are millions of people who are living in poverty and who are just struggling just for their next meal or where they're going to sleep that night. Secondly, just we have this image of people from Muslim countries, from Middle East and so on, and I had this kind of image of mostly men, demonstrating and yelling and so on, or fighting. And when I was there at that camp, I just saw a whole other perspective of people with families, with children, with people who just cared for each other and helping each other out. And then the last thing is that regardless of race, culture, religion, ethnicity, economic background, we are all the same. We're all human beings. We all have the same desires for love, for friendship, for safety. And as parents, we have the exact same desire that our children grow up safely and be productive and be happy. And it's the small acts of kindness. If I'm going to leave any thought with you today, it's like that fixing that flat tire was probably the most important thing I did in that 3 weeks of serving 4,500 meals. It's the small acts of kindness that make the difference. And we don't know when we help somebody else out or show some compassion or help someone who's suffering, whether it's someone homeless or a relative or a friend. We have no idea how that small act of kindness is going to ripple out and how it might affect that person for the rest of his or her life. So that's why I'm really happy to be here with the Rotary Club, because I know all of you are part of the Rotary Club because you have the same kind of motivation to help others. So I hope that my experience in Greece in working with the refugees can also inspire all of us to help our fellow neighbors and those who are in need. So thank you very much for allowing me.